What's up, America? Welcome into Happy Friday. My name is Arthur Raw. I will be hosting this awesome episode, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Discussion Combustion Happy Friday America YouTube channel. We'll be bringing these in regularly and really appreciate the support. Everyone that always comments and does our Would You Rathers, thank you so much. It means a lot, and it always means a lot to have great people in your life as well. I have a great friend sitting across the table from me, Mr. Kevin, Mr. Reading Your Body Language, Badstone.
Check your posture, America. Happy Friday. Good to see you. Happy November 1st. Hard to believe November is here, which means you get to hear me say my favorite word for the next couple weeks, and that is spatchcock. As we get closer to Thanksgiving, I'm going to be smoking a spatchcock turkey once again, so get used to hearing me say spatchcock.
Spatchcock, that means breaking bones and bringing flavor into homes. I'm gonna start this one off with today in history, and welcome into November. Another month is upon us. It's November 1st, and it's time to get this new momentum going. There's cycles of change always happening. But let's jump back to 1846. The Donner Party is unable to cross the Donner Pass, which I assume is named after this party. They construct a winter camp. So that was the only thing that was in the Today in History, and I was like, I know more happened with this, so what's going on? So a total of 87 members died during this winter camp setup. They were suspected to do like a 4 to 6 month travel from they're trying to get to California from like the Chicago, Indiana area.
It's a pretty good hike.
And they actually took a new bypass, Hastings Cutoff is what it was called, which was supposed to like eliminate some trails.
Isn't that like Nebraska area?
Yeah, it took them through the Rocky Mountains and through the deserts of Utah and this horrible different route it took them way longer. So then they got stuck in the winter, and then a lot of people did not make it through that winter. So
wow.
That's the Donner Pass, 1846, pretty crazy. Also, 1913, first paved coast-to-coast highway, the Lincoln Highway, is declared in the United States. So you think about that, early 1300s, we were paving from sea to shining sea, baby.
1913, there it is, coast to coast. That's not Highway 66, is it?
I would have to double check on Lincoln Highway and see.
Because I think that was one of the first 66 to go from like wherever it goes to, wherever it begins to where like longest road in America. Like goes through Texas and different places. I wonder if that's it.
I'm not too sure if that's one and the same, but definitely a great achievement. 1918, the Spanish flu kills 21,000 people in the United States in a single week.
I remember hearing about that during the COVID times.
Yep, so that was big, and like right around, every 100 years or so. It's kind of interesting how that works. And then this one was also interesting. 1922. The Ottoman Empire ends. Okay, so the Ottoman Empire existed for 623 years, from 1299 to 1922.
That's a long time.
Yep, and it ended when Mustafa Kemal takes Constantinople from Mehmed VI, proclaiming the Republic of Turkey and bringing an end to the Ottoman Empire.
Wow.
That is today in history.
That ended up being a juicier day in history than you thought, huh?
It was. Well, a lot of these things happen like within a week.
Yeah.
So it was all still relevant. I was looking back.
I like that. That's a great way to kick off the show. Let's keep it moving into November here. For all you race fans, Bandimere Speedway obviously closed down for business last year for racing. This year they were still selling race fuel off of the mountain at Bandimere Speedway. And we've all been wondering, what are these guys doing? When are they going to break ground? We heard they were going to put a speedway out by DIA. Where is this thing going? So we have an update. The Bandimere family did purchase some land. It's about 125 acres, Art. That's big. 125 acre site where they're going to put this new racetrack. And
that has to include parking too,
That's
right?
going to be parking. Because right now, the old Bandimere, I think, is sitting on, they said, 35 acreage. This is almost 3-4 times that, and which is exactly what they want. They want better facilities, more parking, more accessibility. And the town that it's going to land in is Hudson, Colorado.
Hudson, okay.
So if you're on I-76, headed out towards Fort Morgan, headed out towards past Loch Buoy, Bar Lake, that area, for folks that don't know that area, where Keensburg, where the Tiger Sanctuary is,
okay,
kind of in that vicinity is where they're going to look to put the new Bandimere Speedway. I'm just glad that they have the land, they've signed it, they are zoning it, they're dialing it in, and we should have cars flying down the track, Art, in about 2 years. Little under.
I think that's great news. That's great news because we've covered this one a lot on Happy Friday. What's going on. We started as Happy Friday Denver, so we were always talking Denver, of course. So that's cool to hear the development. Now, do you think that it's like unhealthy for engines and cars to come up to our altitude and compete up here? Like, what is it? I know that they have to rebuild the engines for these national, what is that one again?
The National Hot Rod Association.
Yeah, well, or the drag racing, they have to rebuild those engines.
Yeah, the nitro methane
almost
power.
Every time.
Yeah.
But coming into a higher altitude, that affects race cars, I'm sure.
Big time. Yeah, that's what made Denver so cool on the stop for what they would call, the Mile High Nationals. Mm-hmm. And Denver became and is a difficult place to race because, you need oxygen to make horsepower. So the way that they would tune these motors up here in the thinner air kind of became the sport of racing in Denver, right? Because you could go run 330 miles an hour in Sonoma, California, come up to the mountain, and you're struggling to get over 310.
Really?
It's just so hard to make horsepower up here at this altitude, which makes it for fun racing. It really puts it in the hands of the tuners of the car. The drivers can only put the power down, but if you don't have your proper air to fuel ratios, you're not going to create horsepower. And that's what's cool about racing up here at the altitude.
So the speed records in Colorado are less than the speed records that you'd see on in California tracks
by a larger number. So you will still see, I think Brittany Force held the record at the old Bandimere at 338 miles per hour, which is incredible speed. The all-time record is 340. So she was only 2 miles an hour off of the all-time speed record for drag racing. But that's a one and done. You're not going to see that all weekend. Yeah. Typically, you're going to see cars struggling to get past 300, 310 up at this altitude. They're blowing up, because they're trying to put so much air into this motor, and there's just not a lot of air up here to be had. Mm-hmm. So it's very tough on race cars. That's
going to be fun. I definitely want to go check it out. Now, if you're not a petrol head or a gear person, haven't been to races ever, it's just not the same if you're watching it on TV. You got to go show up to these racetracks. I would love to have that back in Colorado, but there is one still open right now. It's a dirt one, right?
So we got a dirt track that's down towards Colorado Springs a little bit, the I-25 dirt oval that they have down there. And then we do have a 3/8 mile track up in Dacono, Colorado, about 10 miles north of the Thornton area, if you will. It's a 3/8 paved oval, a little bit of banking up there. NASCAR-style racing, but very, very grassroots.
Okay, that sounds fun. Yeah, so you can still get your racing in, support your local racers. Discussion Combustion, our other show, we support John Rinke's race car,
yes.
and he's an awesome guy. So
sure is.
We keep that going, and same with this. So a former Disney employee has been accused of hacking the food menus to make it so all of the peanut allergy type of foods don't say that they have an allergy. So obviously this is a heavy accusation. People could potentially die if they have a peanut allergy and then they're eating these foods that, as on the menu, say that they do not have peanuts. So that's a major allegation, and I do want to make sure that I'm being clear on that because no one's guilty yet.
Just being accused.
But apparently this guy, he was an employee for Disney. What he did there is he put together the menus for the entire company for their restaurant portfolio. So he was in control. He knew these systems and stuff. And apparently he had to get let go for misconduct is what it says. And who knows what that means. There was some evidence that he was accessing the Disney web browsers or employee portals through his Chrome browser at home. But they can't define what he was accessing after his termination. He could have just been accessing, pays, his pay stubs and stuff like that. So then he can, prove proof of income or whatever he needs to do there.
Yeah.
So there's alleged things out there. No one was harmed. Okay. So there's an allegation out there. No one was actually hurt.
No one got anaphylactic shock.
No one got anaphylactic shock.
That's good.
Or had a sleep paralysis demon creep up on them.
That's good.
That was a tongue twister word there.
Throwback to last week.
Yeah. So, crazy story.
Yeah.
And he's saying that Disney is actually, they're worried about him under the conditions in which he was terminated. So he's saying that they're coming up with some conspiracy against him. And so I'll get your feedback here. But what I'm saying is if you mess with the mouse, you're trying to knock down the wrong house. Because this thing, Disney owns Marvel.
They're huge.
Disney basically bought up all of the cinematic entertainment.
They own ESPN now.
Yeah, so they own ESPN. They got like Hulu and like all this other stuff. So it's like, with all the rumors about Beyonce going around,
Yeah, I don't know much about that.
Mickey Mouse is like the Beyonce of cinema.
I could see that. I mean, in comparison, I've heard a lot going on with the Beyonce deal. I just don't know enough about it. But this is a major allegation. I mean, you're basically, would it be considered attempted murder? It would probably be in some form of degree. It's attempted, harm to others. I mean, you're doing this if found guilty, right? Because we got to be clear, he hasn't been found guilty. Then you are maliciously trying to get people sick.
Yeah, like harm others, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anaphylactic shock can kill people. It'll close up your throat. You can't breathe.
Yeah.
I had a shellfish allergy as a kid. I never had it that bad. But I've been around people that go into anaphylactic shock from a bee sting, peanuts, you name it. It's not to be messed around with. So if he comes back guilty on this, I hope he gets, justice to the full extent.
Oh, for sure. Or if he's being accused by Disney. But, dude, there's no way Disney's losing this.
I don't think so.
They got deep pockets.
Yeah, they're going to have the best attorneys.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me like they have, if they can put a case together, right? If they can prove that when they went into his browser, they were able to determine, okay, here's a search history. He was able to get into coding or whatever, change the menus. Really, that should be pretty easy to prove.
See, what I would have done if I was him is I would have changed the pricing on the menu. So then that way it would have been a complete headache for everybody trying to ring them out. And they're like, what the price is and this and that. And
would you have made it more or less?
Less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, this one's $5.75.
Yeah, cheaper.
And they're like, oh, no, that'll be $9, please. And
yeah, way cheaper. Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to fuck with someone, that's a little more harmless.
Well, yeah, because then you're attacking the company or wasting the company's time, opposed to potentially making somebody suffocate until death.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty heavy accusation.
Tongue twister there.
Oh, my goodness.
Maybe you're having anaphylactic shock.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I get nervous on the mic still. Even after all these years, it still gets me.
Pretty wild story, though. We'll see what happens. I mean, did you happen to – I don't see in this article here. Maybe if I read it, NBC News looks like is the one that did it. Is there a trial date? Do we know kind of when there's going to be some closure here?
No, I don't have that just yet, and I'm not too sure if I'll ever have a follow-up article on this either.
So we don't know if we'll ever talk about this again.
Yeah, we don't know if we'll ever talk about this again, but my suggestion is you never mess with Disney, okay? That's like a whole beast within itself.
They are a massive conglomerate for sure. Disney is a powerhouse. Interesting. We'll keep you posted on that.
And you know who else is a powerhouse? Fucking Mr. David Rush.
David Rush doing some amazing things. He will be on Discussion Combustion here. I think we can go ahead and say that now. We've got him locked in for November 13th recording on Discussion Combustion. So the man, the myth, the Rush man is going to come on and talk with us on the other show. What is he up to this week, Art? Well, obviously, last year he set this record, and then he decided to go ahead and break it again.
Oh, okay. He's doing that. So does that count for or is that just one? It stays
counts.
The same.
It counts because he's congruently raising the bar higher.
He's breaking a record, even if it's his own.
Breaking
a record.
So what did he do this time? He sorted the peanut M&Ms in a record 1 minute and 14 seconds.
See, I remember hearing about this one.
But last year he did it in 1 minute 17 seconds. So he shaved another 3 seconds off of the time to sort peanut M&Ms.
Wow, and like we were just talking about racing, like 2 seconds is
like
a big difference.
Oh yeah, you're trailing 2 seconds back in racing.
Yeah,
that's way
like,
off the pace.
You might as well not even participate.
Might as well not participate. So Rush doing amazing things. More to come on him here in the coming weeks. Also have a bonus one for you this week.
Okay, I like the bonus.
Another random record because David Rush is just going to keep breaking records. I could talk about him all the time. So this one's pretty cool, Art. This is the fast-fingered pianist out of Romania.
Okay.
Broke the previous world record was 495 piano key hits in 30 seconds. So, hitting the key, whatever key it is, 495 times in 30 seconds. This lad did it 500 times in 30 seconds. Thurzo Zoltan getting it done.
Wow.
500 keystrokes in 30 seconds. I mean, if you do the math on that, you have to be striking that key 8 to 9 times a second.
That's very fast.
If not more.
His girlfriend is lucky.
Good possibility that the fast fingers are not only great for piano keys.
No,
yeah.
I'm joking around a little bit over here, but you have to develop a callus because you're practicing, right? So it's like that has to hurt your hand or the bone a little bit to hit it that fast on a piano, or are you kind of holding it down so you're not coming all the way up?
I would almost think
you think you're keeping it pretty close.
Yeah, because you have to use the same finger, same key. Because in my head, I'm thinking if you do 2 keys, and you rotate, maybe that'd be a good way to do it. No, you can't do that. It's not part of the rules here.
It's just one finger.
It's just one finger. So,
yeah. So are you tapping with your middle finger? I feel like I'm tapping with my middle.
I'd probably use the pointer finger.
Really?
I think.
Really?
I feel like you can get. Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
Kind of lead finger on like a guitar chord.
Okay.
I guess the middle finger would work too. It has quite a bit of limber mobility.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the middle finger would be better.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can see that.
I can see that. No, you have to bring it up.
Yeah, we doing the finger tap there.
Yeah, yeah. As
like
fast
you said,
as you can.
Yeah, you get in there.
Pianists to Would You Rathers. Happy Friday, America's full of all these fun things. So we're going to jump into last week's Would You Rather first.
Yeah.
And it was either giving up candy for the rest of your life or giving up watching like horror movies.
Yeah, basically we did Halloween theme, of course.
Okay.
We're one day past Halloween now, so everyone's probably got a bellyache from all the candy, and you're probably about spooked out. Spooktober? Spooktober?
Spooked.
Spooktober. I didn't watch any Halloween movies at all.
I watched Signs.
That's not
Did
a
I ever tell
Halloween
you
movie,
that?
though.
It's like aliens and
It's a
dating.
good movie.
It's creepy.
It's a good movie. Mel
good.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Oh,
so
good.
we asked the viewers last week, thanks for everyone that participated in the poll over on our Twitter X page, that is Happy Fry USA. We asked, would you rather give up Halloween candy or Halloween movies for life? 57% giving up the candy, Art.
Okay.
So the majority, just a small majority there, 57% are keeping the movies.
Really?
And getting rid of the sweets.
So we're part of the minority on that one. Or did I get that backwards?
No, we were, because you and I gave up the movies, we're keeping the candy.
Yeah, we gave up the movies.
America's giving up the sweets.
I don't need the horror movies.
They're putting down the diabetes.
Damn. I mean, if you're only having like a Snickers a month, like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we still got it. Next year,
okay.
I expect Snickers to be on that list next year.
Yeah, what's up with that? So I do occasionally just like to drink like a Coca-Cola every once in a while.
Do you Diet Coke?
No.
I don't know.
If you're
That's why I
gonna
asked
do
that.
it, if you're gonna do it,
I don't drink soda, so that's why I ask. We have these delicious, zesty beverages in the studio here today, these Topo Chico waters.
This is top shelf mustard.
Since I quit drinking alcohol, everyone's like, what's Kevin drinking this week? Well, this week's beverage of choice, courtesy of Arthur Raw, is the Topo Chico Twisted Lime glass bottle. Absolutely delicious and crisp.
Oh, yeah, it's delicious. Topo Chico.
Those are good.
Hit us with a couple cases. We'll keep giving you a shout out. What's up? So this week's Would You Rather is one kind of related to the seasons. Seasons are changing. It's getting colder. This and that. So, would you rather live in a place where you experience all 4 seasons, or would you rather live in a place where it's consistently the same weather? So, I'm talking like living in Colorado compared to like living somewhere on the equator.
Or like San Diego.
Or
San Diego's pretty consistent weather.
Yeah, where it's like always 65, like always the same weather.
So, I think for me, because I grew up in New England, which had consistent 4 seasons, almost predictable. You could look at a calendar and know exactly what the weather's going to be. Just textbook 4 seasons. Colorado does have 4 seasons, but it's really more 2 beefy seasons and 2 smaller seasons. The spring and fall here just really are small transition periods. I think because I've spent 35 years of my life in 4 seasons, I'm going to do the next 35, if I had to choose, in nice weather.
Yeah.
I want something that's 75, 80 degrees year round.
Okay.
And there's a few places in the world you can do that.
On the equator, Venezuela's one. Colombia,
San Diego.
Within that area, San Diego.
I don't love California, but I love the weather.
Yeah. San Diego is one of
I love that city.
my favorite cities I've been to.
Oh, yeah.
The food is phenomenal.
It's epic city.
People are nice out there.
They're all right.
They're pro 420.
You'll see a lot of bums because it's a bum's paradise.
It is. It's always so nice there. The
so nice. You
got
showers on the beach. There's food everywhere. Like, it's a bum's paradise out there.
It is. So with that, I am going to stick with the seasons.
I figured you would.
And the reason why is because, like, I don't know what it is. Like, when I woke up this morning, it was really cold, and I was just like, oh man, I am loving this. And it was just making me so excited, and it's fun to see the world dynamically change and stuff. And there's something beautiful to that. However, like, I wouldn't deny it'd be awesome to live in like San Diego or a place like that for a couple years.
It gets predictable though, because like when people come out for a visit and they feel our weather here in Colorado, they're like, oh, this is so nice. It's not like this back home. And we just take it for granted, right? I mean, it gets really hot here in the summer. It gets really cold here in the winter. We get best of both extremes here in Colorado for sure. And for folks that don't know Colorado weather, like Denver is very different than Aspen.
Yeah.
Right? So I got a lot of buddies that'll text me from back home. They're like, oh, I see you guys are getting hammered with snow out there. I'm like, no, man, that's the mountains. So for folks who don't know Colorado geography, Denver's weather is very different than the mountains.
Yes, very different. We'll have a blizzard and then it'll melt away in like 2 or 3 days because we're getting like 65-degree weather, and we're one of the sunniest states in the lower 48, baby.
It's the only state I've ever lived in where you can shovel your driveway in the morning and mow your lawn in the afternoon. It's pretty weird.
It's a bipolar state, and that's why we wear shorts with a jacket. So would you rather, America? Are you taking all 4 seasons, or are you going to have consistent weather? Let us know on the Twitter or X page or down in the comments below, and appreciate your participation. So next, it looks like we have somebody that was looking for the Northern Lights, which who wouldn't want to see that?
So this is actually a pretty comical story. I would encourage folks to read the entire article in The Independent down below. I'm going to highlight a little bit of it. So basically, a woman was driving through, where was this? This was over in the village of Brantford, Suffolk area, which is over there in England. Driving down the road 5:15 in the morning, and she looks up and goes, wow, there's the Northern Lights. It's pink. It's beautiful. Stops, starts taking pictures, looks at what's going on. Come to find out, Art, it was not the Northern Lights. It was a tomato farm.
Oh, okay.
She was seeing the LED lights. They have this tomato farm over there at the Suffolk Sweet Tomato Farm over there, and they light up the sky. They have these red LED lights around their grow areas at this tomato farm, and it does. It projects kind of a reddish tomato-like light up against the sky, and she's all excited thinking that this is a natural phenomenon when it, in fact, wasn't.
That's so funny.
It's pretty funny.
That's so funny. I mean, the funniest part is who was with her that got to see these different levels of emotion. Mm-hmm. You know, first you have like the level of curiosity where you're like, oh, is that what I think it could be? And then you have like this level of confidence, like, oh, it is. And then the level of joy, it's so good. Let's take a picture. This is so fun. And then it sneaks right around the back. It like came through the back door. Yeah. That was the level of disappointment.
Pretty disappointing.
So how long after did she find out about this? Like, was it the next day?
Yeah,
like,
not long.
She probably posted it, and then somebody was like, oh, I'm so sorry to tell you.
Well, come to find out, because she did, kind of post it to the local community. Apparently, some other people, quote unquote, felt that they were catfished by this tomato farm, and felt that they got pulled into false aurora borealis northern lights, if you will, by this tomato farm. And it's like, look, these guys are just trying to grow some delicious cherry tomatoes.
It's a brilliant marketing scheme.
I mean, yeah, if you're trying...
Because we're over here talking about it. Do we know the name of the place?
Yeah, it's the Suffolk Sweet Tomato Farm.
I think you did mention that.
Yep, over there in England where they grow the delicious tomatoes. I love tomatoes. So if you look at the picture, scroll down and click this link, the picture she took, it does look like the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
It's got this really beautiful pinkish, reddish backdrop on the sky. It's just funny, at 5:15 a.m., she's all excited about it. It turns out it's just tomato LED lights.
That is hilarious. And then it just goes into the points that we brought up in the past, like what is real nowadays? Like what are you perceiving to be real that like might just be a cloak, a disguise, something else, you know? So let's stay vigilant out there.
Got to stay aware. There's a lot of AI things going on out there. Things are happening. We got MIT startups. What's going on, Art?
Man, MIT is out here trying to help people fall asleep without taking any sort of like, sleep like PM type pills or melatonin stuff like that.
That stuff's garbage.
It's no good, as we learned from biohacker babes.
Yes.
And one thing I have noticed, because I'm sometimes I take melatonin still, but if I do take melatonin, then it's not as easy to fall asleep the next night. And almost like drinking, if I drink one night, I'm more likely to do it the next night.
Why is that?
I don't know. But then, like, I've noticed, like, when I stopped taking it for a while, then I was getting good sleep, but it took me, like...
Are you still doing it?
Like 3 or 4 days. I went a long time without it, and then I started taking it again, and I should probably stop taking melatonin again.
So yesterday at the grocery store, I bought the Celestial Seasoning Sleepy Time Tea.
That's good.
With melatonin. I've never seen the one with melatonin in it.
Interesting.
And the chamomile and honey or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's probably a small dosage, but now that you say that, I'm concerned to drink it.
Well... Try it out. Everybody's different. I had some Sleepy Time tea last night too. It was delicious.
It's good tea.
You do a little bit of that with honey. But MIT basically made this, they call it the Limid, and it is basically this headband that it's just slightly big, maybe sticks out half an inch from your forehead. It goes up top there. Pretty sleek looking. And they call it an electroencephalogram. I believe. EEG for short. I'm always doing this to myself.
Just say it fast.
I'm always doing it to myself.
Electroencephalogram.
Yeah, that did not sound right either. So how this thing works, though, to help you sleep is it creates audio waves.
That's cool.
And so they...
Like frequencies?
Yeah, like frequencies. So they make a sound that triggers an auditory evoke response in the brain, is what they say. And it gets into your auditory cortex to basically release the voltage burst that sweeps across your brain and interferes with the other regions. So they're basically using like a frequency of sound that is not audible that interacts with the brain to help you get sleepy. This is really going to be beneficial for like mothers that are breastfeeding. Like, you're trying to get some sleep, but you don't want to take substances, and feed it to your kid. Or if you're like on a long business trip and you're, the long flight and you're just trying to get some good sleep and not have the wear off effects. Because hey, I've taken some Advil PMs before and I'm super drowsy the next day. Or even if I took too much melatonin, like I'd be waking up drowsy the next day.
See, I didn't like that feeling.
You just want to keep sleeping the next morning.
Yeah, it's hard to, because I'm not a coffee guy in the morning. I know. I'm sorry, Coffee Nation. I used to be when I worked really, really early mornings, like when I would leave the house before the sun was even up. Now I just don't drink it as much anymore. Number one, it gave me bad agita, acid reflux, wasn't good. But that's the biggest thing I didn't like about the melatonin was it made me feel kind of funky the next day. But I have heard that the electro waves and the frequencies that you can have with your sleep. I've even tried this with a couple like YouTube videos. They have like these sound waves or whatever. You're only going to get so much sound out of your phone, your earbuds. So this device probably can penetrate deeper. But I've heard that there's certain frequencies and sounds, pitches, waves, what have you, tempos that does basically trigger the pineal gland, I believe is where we naturally make melatonin in the brain. Don't quote me on that, folks. I am not a medical expert by any means. But it's really interesting. The more research and innovation that we get around sleep, what a profitable organization, right? People spend 8 hours a day sleeping. That's a third of the day.
It is. But, okay, so, I like to go a little off hinge with some of this stuff, too.
Good.
So let's say that this thing is it goes out into the public. It's working great. People are buying the heck out of it. And then all of a sudden, they start using it like, hey, yeah, put this on and get good sleep. And then it's like they're doing something else with it.
What do you mean?
Like in your brain. Like they're like doing these brain waves or something.
Like some conspiracy?
Or they're like doing something, yeah. And they start like taking, and then all of a sudden people who like have worn this thing like are more susceptible to like, I don't know, specific advertisements or something.
Well, we've certainly heard, conspiracy theorists out there around the 5G, and that 5G puts out a frequency, which it does. That's not false. There is a frequency that comes off 5G towers, but the conspiracy is that interferes with certain people and causes them to act erratically, make irrational decisions and do things like that. So who knows? I mean, you start messing with frequencies of the brain, we don't know what's going to happen.
And you get big corp involved and stuff. Like did the mouses in the house.
Is Disney going to buy this?
I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised.
Disney's going to buy it.
But we got something really big coming up this week in America, or next week in America, and that is happening Tuesday.
It's a big day, obviously. It's Friday. We are a couple days away here from Election Day on Tuesday. As of this morning, we've got around 60 million ballots already casted for early voting. I dropped mine off earlier this week. I am done. I used to wait around until Election Day and vote in person on these polls, and go in and with the machines and stuff. But I just find it more convenient. I can fill it out at my house. I can take my time with it. I don't feel rushed at the polling station. Because it's important to take – we obviously know this is going to be one of the biggest presidential elections of our lifetime, but there's a lot of other things that we're voting on here. There's a lot of propositions here in Colorado. There's a lot of local state officials that you really need to pay attention to outside of just the presidency. No matter who wins this thing on Tuesday, America will be okay. Right? We might have some challenges. We might have some division.
That's good to highlight that.
We're going to be okay. And what I love about this country is the fact that we have the ability to vote. Everyone's very passionate about this country, right? It's no secret. I voted for Donald J. Trump. I backed him on the show a few months ago. I'm not going to say it's the first time I voted for a Republican since 2012. I've considered myself to be a libertarian. Just for the record, I want to put that out there. I'm not a big conservative, right-wing guy.
Okay.
I voted based on – I'm going to kind of use a quote that our neighbor down the hall said. When you're on an airplane, you don't know what that pilot's been up to. He could have some misdemeanors. He could have been doing some crazy shit. Can he fly the plane?
Yeah.
Can he fly the plane? I just feel like based on the two choices we have, Art, I think Donald Trump is just a better fit for this country right now. I think Harris has great intentions. I think she's fearless. She's a fighter. She's a warrior. But I had to make the tough decision. I voted for Donald J. Trump.
That's and I respect that you are going out there and fulfilling your right as a U.S. citizen and voting. It is important. And, I kind of take a stance on absence when it comes to politics. Like, I think it's a bunch of drama. Like, I believe everything will be okay regardless if I kind of stay in my own lane in life. I've generally always voted in the presidential election. I don't know if I'm going to do it this year. I really don't. But that's why I don't talk politics with people. I don't really get involved with it or like share my opinions too heavily because I don't know enough to even, have a discussion or a debate about anything with.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my viewpoint on it. I just think it's wild right now. I can't wait for it to be over.
I'm ready for it to be done. I think everybody
ready for
is.
it to be over.
Just so much negativity. A lot of people are very upset with each other. I don't like that. I just don't like that. That's not what this country's about. We're very divided right now.
Well, and it's also this time of like, rhetoric and promise making that like a lot of this stuff, it doesn't matter how great the person is who got elected. They just can't actually get through Congress and pass all these bills and everything within this 4-year period of time to really see a lot of their promises through. And that's like consistent almost always with most presidents. And so it's just like this time of rhetoric and just words that are ballooned and like filled with helium and
exactly.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know which way I want it to go.
Yeah.
And if I really cared, then I'm gonna get in there and vote before, and that might happen. I'm not too sure if I'm going to or not though.
Well, you still got time. That's the good news. You got a couple days if you feel that you feel passionate enough that you want to do that. But I also want to make it clear. Look, I got a lot of friends on both sides of the aisle. And they're all welcome in my house. I'm tired of seeing people being like, "Oh, that person voted for that person. Don't talk to me."
Yeah.
It's
what's
like,
up
come
with
on,
that?
guys. Like, we're Americans at the end of the day. We have the freedom to vote, right? And we can talk about these things. Doesn't mean you're a bad person because of who you cast your vote for. I don't feel embarrassed that I voted for Trump. This is our American duty to vote. And like I said at the beginning of this article, no matter what happens on Tuesday, I believe that this country's going to be okay. We might have some obstacles to overcome, right? We might have to deal with some inflation and some things that are going to impact our lives directly, right? That's I think what most Americans are voting on this election is what impacts them directly, right? You've always had the social issues. That's been in politics forever, but people are really feeling it. Inflation at all-time high, gasoline, all these things. And I'm not saying that I believe that the president and the commander-in-chief can just magically make that go away, right? We have to be realistic here. But we still are tasked with who do we feel is best to fly this plane.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's really tough. And, I don't want to talk about it too much. I'll just say in the year 2020, everything that happened really stressed out the supply chain industry, which I'm heavily involved in for my day job. That trickles down to cost of everything that we purchase for our daily lives. I don't think it ever really got back to where it was before. But then companies are still
price gouging,
and expecting to have record profits, and it's just a very volatile place regardless.
Yep.
And yeah, you think just getting somebody in here is going to completely change this system that's in place? Look, like we've talked about deeply in discussion combustion. We all know who I think's in control, and I don't think it's the president of any nation.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot more going on behind the curtain, of course. But it's going to be interesting to see. There's a lot riding on it, right? I mean, stocks, businesses, decision making. There's a lot of people are waiting. They're waiting to find out what's the future of the country going to be like. Is this an investable market anymore?
I mean, even with my girl, being an asylum seeker from another country here, as an immigrant, there's some things that I'm kind of concerned about and looking into, how things going to play out. That's a conversation in my household for sure.
Yeah. This election's impacting a a lot of people. I'm not saying previous ones haven't, but this one, I feel like a lot of people are a lot more involved. It's hitting closer to home, if you will. So at the end of the day, I don't care who you vote for. Just if you're not going to vote, don't be one of those people that is a party pooper and has a lot to say about it and being all negative. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you're not choosing to vote, I might not be, then just stay in your lane, and it's just a conversation you don't talk about. This is why you're not voting, is so you can eliminate that whole energy from your existence and not deal with it at all.
Yeah, well, you do a good job of that in our group chat.
Yeah.
You'll be like, all right, well, outside of politics, how's everyone doing?
I'm like, yeah.
Because our group chat can get off the rails.
It's just 100 messages about politics, and I'm reading this. I'm like, oh, God, this makes me want to throw up.
And what's so funny is nobody's changing their vote. No one's changing their mind.
Yeah, so why are we talking about it?
So why are we talking about it?
Yeah.
It's fine to have a conversation,
yeah,
but not a conversation where you're trying to change that person's opinion. I can't believe, I wish I would have voted for your candidate.
Oh, yeah.
It's silly.
I didn't think that you would finally convince me, but damn, the fifth no really is a yes. Thank you.
So
that's crazy, man. But let's
get through it.
Yeah.
Let's stay strong, America. No matter what happens, let's keep it safe. I don't want to see any riots.
We're one nation. One nation.
Mm-hmm. This America is still the greatest nation in the world. I don't want to see any bullshit next week. I don't want to see people flipping cars over and getting mad at each other, regardless of who wins. Let's keep it safe.
Yes. Why can't everybody just be chill?
Why can't everybody just be chill? That's what I want to know too, Art. But you know what? What do you got going on this weekend? You putting up your Christmas decor?
I don't know, man. Halloween ends. If we skip Thanksgiving, I might put up the Christmas tree and start getting into the spirit.
Really, before Thanksgiving, huh?
I mean, it's kind of fun.
I guess it is.
It's kind of, and my girl, it's her favorite holiday.
Women love Christmas.
In Latin America, they don't, in Venezuela at least, they don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Obviously, that's an American holiday.
Very American.
And they don't do Halloween. So they're like looking forward to Christmas for like a while. They're like really looking forward to it. So I'll probably implement a little treeage.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Christmas tree. They're fun.
The little lights on it.
You can get the air fresheners too that smell like Christmas tree because I like the smell.
See that? I wouldn't think about that.
Oh yeah, I'll show you the one.
Okay.
I'll show you the one. I'm telling you, it's got little pine needles in it and everything. It's legit.
Okay.
It smells just like a Christmas tree.
I want to check it out.
Other things you can do this weekend is change your furnace filter. We're at that time of year where the heater's clicking on, right? We're turning the AC off, the heater's coming on. This is the time where you're blowing the dust out. Change that furnace filter for maximum, not only energy saving, but it's safer for your house to change that filter.
It is. It's very beneficial, helps the airflow, everything else. Are you going to do a fish tank?
I just did a 50% water change last weekend, did a real good scrubbing. But for all you fish tank owners out there, don't sleep on your water changes. I was only doing my 10%, so my nitrite started going through the roof. It's not healthy for the fishies, guys. So for anyone with your fish out there, check those levels, make sure those nitrites are low, and if they're not, go ahead and do a 50% water change.
Damn. Also, catch up with friends if they're leaving town. That's something I'm going to do. It was actually a solid lad, Matt Williams. He's heading out of Colorado. So,
is he leaving?
Yeah, I'm going to go say what's up to him.
He was on Discussion Combustion.
He was on Discussion Combustion. Really good guy. Great advocate. So hope everyone has a great weekend. I know that NASCAR we're really close to the end here. There's 2 more races.
We're going to Martinsville. 2 years ago, we know what happened. Ross Chastain rolled the wall here, made it into Phoenix. You and I were at that championship race. This is it. Martinsville is the last chance to make it into Phoenix. Denny Hamlin, come on. I am rooting for Denny Hamlin. Monday night, Jeff Davis and myself, Mash the Gas podcast, and then Sky will be joining us to close out the year.
Super excited about that. So you should properly announce this. MTG has a new co-host, a third co-host. Super excited about this. Her name is Sky. Tell us about that.
She is fantastic. She's out of Daytona Beach, Florida. Very, very huge passion. Really captures that young demographic and is doing really well. She's going to get her legs under her. We're going to hit the off season strong, and then Sky will be joining Jeff Davis and I full time in 2025 for NASCAR. But she will be joining us to close out this year at Phoenix. So if you want to tune in and get a preview when we make the official announcement on MTG here next week.
Also, you got a little. This is the
little
juice.
Taste.
This is some juice right here.
It's coming, baby.
If you listen to Happy Friday, you heard it first. MTG Developments.
Big stuff coming.
Hope everyone has a great weekend coming up.
Yes, of course. Thank you for tuning into this program and supporting our YouTube channel. Mash that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. Follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, at Happy Friday USA, Twitter X, where you can take the polls, check out the promo clips, have some fun with us, Happy Friday USA. And you know what? I just appreciate everyone being here. It's November. Let's be safe. Let's have a fantastic weekend. What's that sound? Fricashitas, baby.